There's a woman in Ohio who makes $94,000 a year. Good job! Nice title. The kind of income her parents would have called made it. She has $412 in savings. Not because she's irresponsible, not because she doesn't understand money. She has a spreadsheet. She has a budgeting app. She's read the books. She is broke in a way that has nothing to do with math and everything to do with a story she doesn't even know she's telling herself. And here's the part that should scare you a little. Statistically, if you're watching this, there's a decent chance you're telling yourself the same story. Because the wealth mindset mistakes that quietly erase millions of dollars over a lifetime don't look like mistakes while you're making them. They look like normal life. They look like being responsible. They look like treating yourself. They look like doing everything right. That's what makes them so dangerous. You can't avoid a trap you've been taught to call safety. So stick with me, because by the end of this, you're going to look at your own bank account differently. Not with more guilt, but with more clarity. And clarity, it turns out, is worth more than any raise you'll ever get. Let's start with the lie almost everyone believes without ever saying it out loud. The lie is this: money problems are math problems. Spend less than you earn, invest the difference, wait, get rich. Simple, right? Except it isn't simple, because money was never actually about math. Money is about identity. It's about fear. It's about what you watched your parents do at the kitchen table when the bills came. It's about the version of yourself you're terrified of becoming and the version you're desperately performing for people who, if we're honest, aren't even paying that much attention to you. You don't manage money with a calculator. You manage it with your nervous system. And nobody ever taught you that. So you keep trying to solve an emotional problem with a spreadsheet and wondering why the spreadsheet keeps losing. Here's the scary part. This isn't a poor people problem or a bad decision maker problem. Some of the most financially anxious people on earth make 6 figures. Because the mistakes that quietly bleed you dry aren't about how much comes in. They're about the invisible rules running underneath every decision you make. And most of those rules were installed before you turned 15. By the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly which of those rules are running your life, and which one, specifically, is probably costing you the most. Mistake number 1. You confuse comfort with security. Somewhere along the way, comfortable quietly replaced safe in your vocabulary. The nice apartment, the car that doesn't embarrass you at the valet, the vacation that becomes proof, mostly to yourself, that you're not falling behind. None of that is evil. None of that makes you shallow. But here's the trap. Comfort spends money to numb anxiety, while security spends money to remove it. Those are opposite strategies wearing the same outfit. The person buying comfort feels better for exactly as long as the receipt is in their hand. Then the feeling fades, and the bill stays. This is where things get dangerous, because comfort is addictive in the same way sugar is addictive. It doesn't solve the hunger, it just delays it, and hands you a slightly worse version of the problem an hour later, wrapped in a little more debt. Mistake number 2. Lifestyle inflation disguised as self-respect. You get a raise. You deserve nice things now. You worked for this. New phone, better neighborhood, skincare routine that costs more than your first car payment. Nothing wrong with any single choice, but nobody talks about what's actually happening underneath. Your expenses are rising exactly as fast as your income, so the gap between what you earn and what you keep never actually widens. You're not getting richer, you're upgrading the treadmill. This is the quiet reason so many people earning good money still feel one emergency away from disaster. Because they are. The income changed, the distance between them and zero didn't. And the cruelest part? From the outside, it looks like winning. New car in the driveway, good watch, vacation photos. Meanwhile, the actual net worth is standing completely still, hidden behind a very convincing set of props. Mistake number 3, confusing looking rich with becoming rich. We live inside the most sophisticated wealth signaling machine in human history, and it's in your pocket. And it's called social media. Every scroll is a comparison engine. Somebody's beach trip, somebody's kitchen renovation, somebody's soft launch of a new car they can't actually afford, financed at 11% for 72 months. Here's what nobody says out loud. Most visible wealth online isn't wealth. It's debt wearing a filter. The people who actually have money quietly compound in the background, boringly, for years, while looking almost suspiciously normal. But your brain doesn't know the difference between real wealth and performed wealth. It just sees the beach photo and feels behind. And feeling behind is exactly the emotional state that makes people make their worst financial decisions. The impulse buy, the fake it till you make it purchase, the I deserve this too moment that quietly costs them a chunk of their future to soothe 5 minutes of their present. You're not just competing with your neighbors anymore. You're competing with a highlight reel curated by algorithms designed to keep you anxious, because anxious people scroll longer and buy faster. But the real problem goes deeper than any single purchase. It's a mindset underneath all of it. Mistake number 4, the someday delusion. Someday I'll start investing. Someday I'll figure out retirement. Someday, when I make more, I'll take this seriously. Here's the math nobody wants to sit with. Money that starts compounding at 25 versus money that starts compounding at 35 isn't a 10-year gap. Because of how compounding works, it can be a difference measured in hundreds of thousands of dollars by retirement, sometimes more, even if the later saver puts in more money overall. Someday isn't a delay. It's the single most expensive word in personal finance, and it doesn't announce itself as expensive. It sounds responsible. It sounds like patience. It's actually the opposite. It's procrastination wearing a suit. And this is where modern life made everything worse, because rent went up, groceries went up, wages for a lot of people didn't move nearly as fast. So someday isn't always laziness, sometimes it's survival. But even then, the trap doesn't care about your reasons. It costs the same either way. Mistake number 5. Treating debt like a personality trait instead of a fire. At some point, being bad with money became something people say about themselves the way they'd say they're bad at parallel parking. A little embarrassing, kind of funny, not really an emergency. But debt doesn't care about your self-deprecating jokes. Every month you carry a balance. Interest is quietly working against you. The exact same mechanism that makes investing powerful, just aimed at your net worth instead of for it. Here's what almost nobody explains clearly. Debt and investing are the same force, pointed in opposite directions. Compounding doesn't take sides. It will build your future or dismantle it, completely indifferent to which one you meant to choose. The people drowning in this the quietest are often the ones who look the most fine. Steady job, nice smile, a minimum payment on 4 different cards that they've mentally filed under normal because everyone they know has the same thing. Shared struggle doesn't make it safe. It just makes it invisible. Now, here's where we get to the part almost nobody wants to hear, because it's not about spreadsheets or apps or the next side hustle. Mistake number 6. Outsourcing your financial identity to the loudest voice in the room. Your parents' fear, your friends' flex, Your ex's judgment. The influencer selling you a course about the exact mistake he made 2 years ago. Everyone has an opinion about what you should do with your money, and most of them are really just talking about their own fear, wearing your name. The people who actually build wealth over a lifetime tend to have one strange thing in common. They get quiet. They stop needing the purchase to be seen. They stop needing the number to be believed. They just build, privately, at a pace that would look almost boring on camera. That's not because they don't feel the pressure. They feel it exactly as much as you do. They just decided, at some point, that the pressure wasn't allowed to write the check. So where does that leave you? Not with a checklist. Checklists are easy to ignore. This is bigger than a checklist. The truth is, none of these mistakes are really about money. They're about what money is standing in for. Safety you didn't get to feel as a kid. Approval you're still quietly chasing. Fear of becoming someone specific. A story about who you're supposed to be by now. You can't budget your way out of a story. You have to actually see it first. And maybe that's the most honest thing anyone can tell you about wealth. It was never really a math problem. It was always a mirror. Most people just never took the time to actually look into it. They were too busy staring at everyone else's reflection instead. The $412 in that woman's account was never really the problem. It was just the symptom. The real fortune isn't the number you eventually save. It's the moment you stop letting fear spend it before you even earn it. That moment is available to you right now. Most people just wait for someday.